This week on Top Travel, Jeannie and Janez are still in beautiful Barcelona. They visit the magnificent Basilica La Sagrada Familia, the unfinished magnum opus of master architect Antoni Gaudi, before heading to the Camps Bay of Spain, bustling La Barceloneta beach. Their next port of call is Toulon in France, where they explore the Maritime Museum. And then it's off to Monaco to try their luck in the sovereign city-state's world-famous Monte Carlo casino.
When it comes to architecture, Gaudi is everything. He's the master, he's the genius. Some even call him the madman.
Sagrada Familia makes me want to become a better Catholic.
When Gaudi started work on Sagrada Familia, he knew deep down in his heart he would never finish the project. He ended up dying in 1926. But I think subconsciously he hoped that one day the people of Barcelona would pay homage to his work and to his genius and finish the project. And today, in 2013, they're 65% of the way there.
What we're seeing over here is that the darker areas have already been built and the white pieces are still to be completed.
Yeah. That's quite a lot.
Yeah, they have to build 10 towers more and the main facade. We have only the Nativity facade on the other side, made by Gaudi. This part is the Passion facade, and, well, they have to build this part and the highest towers.
The minute Janez and I walked in there, both of us at exactly the same time had exactly the same reaction. We walked in and went, oh, it simply takes your breath away.
I'm absolutely speechless. Gaudi was a genius, an absolute genius. Please take a look. Take a look up for a second. Now, that is just, it's unbelievable. Gaudi was inspired by nature, and if you take a look at these columns or pillars, you'll see those are tree trunks that lead all the way up to branches that branch out towards the ceiling, and then all those patterns represent the leaves, and the Murano glass with the light flowing through represents the light flowing through the roof of a forest. It's just mind-blowingly beautiful.
Now the size is huge and it's getting even bigger. So are the foundations and is the engineering from Gaudi's time still valid for our modern era?
Yeah, the architects spent 5 years recalculating the plans of Gaudi, and they just say Gaudi was right.
He was perfect.
Yeah.
A genius.
Amazing.
A genius. It pays homage to Gothic architecture, but with a modern twist. It's dark, and it tells so many different stories, and it's so sculptural, it's so ornamental in a way.
This is so technical, but it's also fascinating. Gaudi wasn't just a great artist, he was also an excellent mathematician, judging by this, because he used gravity to try and develop the shape of the building. So if you look, he's weighing up sandbags against each other to try and form an arch, but he's doing it upside down. So when you look in the mirror, you can see the perfect form and shapes of what the building is today.
It's very clever. By weighing it, he gets the perfect arch. But also, if you count up each individual sandbag, and you see at the top they've got the numbers, you can actually see the amount of downforce or compression that each arch had to basically hold. Brilliant.
It's unbelievable.
Jeannie D, high school maths, year 1 algebra, dropout. Gaudi, no school maths. What does he create? This orchestra of sandbags to create genius. The original Gaudi towers were built in 1926. Now look at the current construction that's going on and think of how high we are. Now imagine the scaffolding that would have been used in Gaudi's time. Scary.
I'm so nervous I didn't hear a word you just said. What I do know is the bell tower in front of us is 65 meters. The highest steeple is going to be 175 meters when they finish that in 2026. That's 2/3 higher than where we are standing right now.
I'm a little scared, and I'm not really scared of heights, but this is...
High, seriously high. Whoa. Without doubt, one of Barcelona's top tourist attractions is the beach. In fact, they've got 7 beaches stretching over 4.5 kilometers. The best of them all, or the most famous of them all, where all the sexy guys and girls are showing off their healthy bodies, is Barceloneta. And you know that prior to 1992, when they had the Olympics here, this was kind of a derelict industrial area. Even the people that were living in the city didn't come here. And National Geographic voted Barcelona the top beach city in the world.
It's easy to understand why. There's such an electric vibe. Bicycles, dog walking, music, it's just great. Everyone here also looks good in a bikini. And there's no wonder Picasso was so inspired by this place that he painted Barceloneta by Picasso in 1895. Let's go and explore some more.
That is what a camera person should look like. Not like that person over there. You're fired, she's hired.
Janez doesn't have a weakness for hot women at all.
Stay tuned. We're leaving land to try the latest extreme water sport, flyboarding. And later, Janez gets to hang out with the captain of the Liberty of the Seas.
So even though Barcelona has the best beaches in the world, you can't always just go to the beach. That's why I'm really glad that here in Barcelona, they've added so many different elements to it. Volleyball, water sports.
Yeah, I'm going to speak about water sports. I know of a water sport that Jeannie definitely will not do.
There's no water sport I won't do except for dangerously jumping off cliffs.
You guys all remember Back to the Future with Michael J. Fox when he was on those cool hoverboards. I wanted one of those.
I wanted one of
Well,
those.
now they've got that, but it's made for water.
I've actually seen that. It turns you into a human dolphin and you use the pressure of the water to jump in and out.
Let's go flyboarding!
Hello.
Thank you, madame. How are you? How's it going? Good. She's very nervous.
I'm a little bit scared.
The problem is she can't swim right now. Flyboarding is meant to look like you're flying on a board, and it feels like you're flying on a board. You literally feel like a dolphin that's going in and out of the water. It's not walking, it's not running, it's not cycling, it's flyboarding. It's a new means of transport. In you go, and doggy paddle. I'm quite nervous for her, because the water is choppy, and I'm feeling a little bit queasy. And she was talking a big game, but I can see it in her eyes. She was a little scared. Straight up with me now, had you ever heard of flyboarding before? Because I hadn't.
Of course I have.
Of course, because you're so Lani, Nutella on my Sami.
Basically, flyboarding is when you take the propulsion from a jet ski, you untie that tube, and you put another tube on it, which is attached to a little board that you stand on. Strap your ankles into it, and it gets all of that gas from the jet ski.
What she's trying to say here is that it's back to
Am I trying to say, I did it before you did it?
Get it. Well done.
Flyboarding is something of a phenomenon. Something of a phenomenon.
With the flyboarding, I stood up second time, which I thought was pretty good. But, I mean, it's like putting me on a tennis court with a guy that's never played tennis before. I'm going to ace him every single time, no problem. So obviously, the instructor was up and down like a dolphin. Give me 2 weeks and I'm the same. What an experience.
I don't even know what I look like. I probably look like a drowned rat, but what I can declare is that is the most fun I've ever had in my life. It's amazing.
Especially water. I mean, the most amazing water sport I've ever tried. We went hoverboarding, flyboarding.
It was absolutely incredible. I highly recommend it.
And we both did it. We both did it. Well done. Mwah.
Travel, and top travel in particular, always looks incredibly glamorous. In reality, we travel with quite a hefty team of 4 people. But our luggage is a monstrosity.
Oh man, I keep on losing count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
12 pieces of luggage, that's a lot. That's the reality. That's how we actually travel from place to place. The great thing is we're going to the port in Barcelona now, which means we can unpack this for 7 days and just leave it. It really isn't easy to travel, not at the best of times. But to travel as a production team is very difficult because we've got the 4 of us. We got my 1 bag, my cameraman's 1 bag, Sinead's 1 bag, and then Jeannie's 6 bags. Leaving the great city of Barcelona behind, we're on board the beautiful Liberty of the Seas. And Jeans, I've got a little confession to make. You know what a man I always try and be?
Yeah.
I completely lost the plot without you.
Oh, I can imagine. You more than likely went running through the streets in your underwear or something.
Something like that, yeah. But a new adventure, new beginnings. We got some great ports. We're going to Toulon, south of France, then Villefranche, which is Nice and Monaco.
Ah, lovely.
Roma, I've never been to Rome.
And in Naples, actually, the land with the best pizza in the world. I can't wait for that.
Team J&J in the house.
I've got an idea. Let's cruise.
What I love about cruise liners is you unpack once and you're there for 7 days, or you unpack once and you're there for 2 weeks. You name it, it's one hotel room for so many different destinations. Captain Per.
Hey,
Very nice to meet you. It's such an honor to be on the bridge. It feels a bit like a spaceship in here.
You're welcome, and welcome to the bridge. Yeah, no, it's a lot of instruments and so on to make sure that we have a safe operation and sail safe around to our ports.
You can basically control everything from the bridge.
You have a good view of the whole operation. When it comes to safety, yes, then we can control. We can control the ventilation, the valves, and so on. But of course, further down in the ship, I have the control room with the chief engineer, so he can control all the technical aspects of the operation for me.
Captain Olaf took me onto the bridge, and usually you're actually not allowed to go onto the bridge, but we had special permission to go, and what an experience. What I loved about Captain Olaf is he was so excited about his own profession. It's always great to meet people that are inspired by what they do. And you could see he loves what he does.
So we were talking about the steering wheel. Yes, it's there, and now you can grab it.
Yes.
And then you can steer a little bit. If you go to starboard, that's port.
Starboard.
Now, starboard is to the right.
Yeah.
The good thing is, nothing happened.
No, I didn't feel it.
No.
Ooh. Janez left his phone with me, which is obviously not a good idea because I'm going to go through everything. And judging by his photographs, the man lost his mind while I was away, which is why it's actually such an amazing thing to finally be on the Liberty of the Seas, because every morning it's a different sunrise, every evening a different sunset, and the suite is absolutely spectacular with so much space all to myself.
Up next, we anchor in Toulon and visit the Maritime Museum. Then it's off to Monaco's famous casino, and boy, do they travel in style.
What bliss. Fell asleep in Barcelona and woke up in the south of France.
Toulon is a genuine gateway to Provence, one of the most beautiful regions of France. And as expected, we're in the Mediterranean and the sun is shining.
The weather is sweet, yeah.
Toulon is never going to be the #1 holiday destination on the French Riviera. That's fact. But it is very important to France's military power. In fact, France's military fleet is stationed at Toulon. And in the history of France's military actions, Toulon has played an important role.
Here we are at the Musée de la Marine. Toulon is perfectly protected between the mountains and the Mediterranean, which makes this port the most naturally protected one in all of Europe.
It's also the biggest French naval port, and during the Second World War, when the British and the Americans were attacking via Normandy, simultaneously they attacked from this very port. It also houses the pride of the French fleet, which is called the Charles de Gaulle, a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier.
Wow, I really hope their sailors are just as impressive.
You behave yourself.
Hello, sailor.
The detail of these ships is so incredible. From what period are they? From around about the 17th century?
Alors c'est ça, ce sont des maquettes du 18e
These two model ships are from the 18th century. They were actually built at the same time as the normal big boats and were built to instruct the sailors of the time how to use the boats and so forth. These two are exceptional because they were built in the dockyards of Toulon itself.
So that sailboat could maybe take out another boat next to it. This beast over here can nuke the whole of France. So which one do you prefer?
Definitely that one, because there's art to it, there's beautiful, it's intricate, it's fascinating. This just spells destruction for me.
I wish they never invented it.
Exactly.
I find it quite sad that hundreds of years ago we used to build these beautiful ships and fight against other people, and in today's world we build even bigger, more powerful ships and we're still fighting against our own people. I mean, what is wrong with humanity that we're just always at war?
The most notable and valuable part of Toulon is the military base. So what better place to see it than from the water?
What I find truly fascinating is in this very bay during the Second World War, 85 ships in the French fleet were sunk on purpose to prevent it falling into enemy hands. Fascinating. Toulon might look like a sleepy little fishing village, but in the reality, Toulon is a target, especially for all France's enemies. It's a target, and it's probably the most well-protected of all French cities. There must be radars everywhere around it.
It's so typical of you. You couldn't wait until we got to Monaco before you showed off your body.
Jeans, we're in the Mediterranean, I'm catching a tan, I'm a bit pale, and it's hot.
It is hot. It's such a pity there aren't any beaches here.
And we're in a naval base, so you can't actually go swimming with all those big ships around. All the beaches are outside the city.
No, it is boiling hot.
Toulon's been bombed a lot and it's been rebuilt, and you can see if you walk around the town, it's not a very wealthy city, but it is an important port. It's the head of France's navy, and it's got a great rugby team. It's another very normal experience for J&J. We're off to the Principality of Monaco.
I can't wait. There are more billionaires and millionaires per capita than anywhere else in the world. I really feel like I've got the golden ticket today.
Should we go into our helicopter?
Basically, on a weekday, on the off-season, every 20 minutes, a helicopter lands in Monaco.
I suspect they don't do this with every millionaire and billionaire. Well, mind you, most of them are probably billionaires. But our heli pilot actually kept on dropping the helicopter, gave me the fright of my life. He kept on dropping it and then laughing at me like, that's funny. No, that's real funny.
Coming into Monaco by helicopter definitely does set the tone for your trip, because that's what Monaco's about. It is the playground to the James Bonds of the world. So you just feel so chic.
We're in magnificent Monaco, the land of yachts, mansions, fast cars, and push-up bras.
Not to mention tennis players, Formula One drivers, celebrities from all over the world, all living in those luxury apartments behind us. But why live here? They could be living in mansions in Nice. Well, because this is the ultimate tax haven. Monaco has been ruled by descendants of the Grimaldi family since 1297. The country's only 2 square kilometers big, which means the average person would take about probably under an hour to walk it.
What you see here, it's 150 years old. 150 years ago, Monaco actually was 10 times bigger than it is today. It stretched all the way down to the Italian border. But then the population had the opportunity to belong to France, so they choose to be French at that time. And so the principality shrunk by 9/10. And the Prince of Monaco at that time was really heading a very poor state. He had a vision to build the most beautiful casino in Europe, and together at the same time the most deluxe hotels attached to that casino, but at the same time as well bring the best of cultural events that you could find at that time in Europe. So it was a cocktail of an overnight success.
You can almost smell the currency exuding from the Casino Monte Carlo.
So get this, only 19% of the population of this principality are actual citizens, and the citizens themselves are not allowed to go into the gaming rooms because the casino was built to make money for its people, not lose money.
You know, unfortunately we don't live here, but you know what the good part of that is? We're not citizens.
Madame. Now this is the real deal. This is it. If there's ever a casino in the world that you want to go gambling in, this is the place. This is the Mecca.
This is just the finest example of Belle Epoque architecture. It's so beautiful with these 8 incredible Bohemian crystal chandeliers that weigh in at 150 kilograms each. Also, all of this gold gilding is real gold leaf.
And you have to recognize this casino from so many movies. James Bond, GoldenEye, you name them. I love this casino.
You could potentially be a Bond.
For us, casino culture is very, very important. We have always lived with that, and it's a Monte Carlo experience. It's, let's say, a game for connoisseurs, people who know exactly the rules of the game and who like to have it exactly the way it was 100 years ago.
It's just wow.
Monaco is one of those countries that never feels a recession. Now, we're in the private gambling room of the casino. You can imagine all the interesting and fascinating characters that have played on these tables.
The elegant facade, the panache interiors. It's also been the backdrop to 3 James Bond movies, like Casino Royale, GoldenEye, and Never Say Never Again. We decided to have our own little Bond movie. Martini for you, sir.
Martini? No. Crushed ice, strawberries, and daiquiri.
Janez as a Bond? Look, aesthetically, absolutely. But Bond is calculating. He's smart. Janez is honest and vulnerable. And
I've never seen a better Bond. I was a natural. It just happened. I walked into the casino and there you had it. Janez Vermeulen, James Bond.
Don't miss next week's adventures on Top Travel. Jeannie and Janez follow the Monaco Formula One circuit and discover foodie heaven at Monte Carlo's Hôtel de Paris. They explore more of their luxurious cruise liner, the Liberty of the Seas, and the markets of charming coastal town La Spezia after docking in Italy.